Record. There we go. All right, we're recording. All right, we are grouping together to talk about UX research for the release stage to understand how we start to incorporate that into our monthly, how we pace with our features. So, Lori, I think, we just kind of started integrating with you, and I felt like we needed to do a synchronous meeting with this group to see, okay, what do we have on your plate? Do you know what the priority is? Do you have everything you need? And even giving us some coaching on how to engage with you a little bit better.
For sure. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, Mike and I were talking just the other day about that, and this is perfect. It's only my first month here, so I'm still getting used to, can I call a meeting? Or is it just, put it in the issue? So I appreciate this, Karina, very much. So I've been here a month. I'm also working in the ops in the secure areas as well as defend whenever it comes online. So unfortunately, you're not my only team that I get to work with. Fortunately, because I get to learn everything else, but I've got to balance everything as well as what you guys have for me. In terms of research and our not the perfect process, but what we strive to do is we would like to do the research milestone before you need to consume it, because we want to give you time to be able to consume it. It will take us a month to do a research project most of the time. The main time that is chewed up is with recruiting, because we need to find people to talk to, and it just takes time to do it. I've done it for years. I can't do it faster than 2 weeks, unless it's like car loans and you can go to the Starbucks and find somebody. But if it's really technical people, it just takes time. So what we'd like to do is, we strive to do a kickoff call or async around the 8th or 7th of the month. So when the milestone kicks off, we're kicking off our research as well. That's the time to discuss priorities. What is it exactly that you need from research? How can we help you? How can we be good partners for you? And then after that, we go off and we create whatever the testing artifact needs to be: discussion guide, usability testing guide, survey, whatever it is. So we create that based on that discussion that we had around hypothesis, objectives, goals, those kinds of things. And at the same time, we also know who we want to talk to, right? So we also kick off recruiting, because again, it's going to take 2 weeks. And so while the recruiting is going, I'm working with you guys to refine those questions in the discussion guide and things like that. So once we get people scheduled, we can hop right into doing the sessions with them. And then we do the sessions, and typically, from what I understand, they're about half an hour long here. I've done hour-long sessions before other places. If we have things that are very small pieces, like a small thing to get feedback on that might be like a 10 or 15 minute discussion, what we can do is put a couple of those together and do a longer session with somebody. That's perfectly fine. The only trick is we have to be talking to the right people in that session. So sometimes what you want to find out is from a different persona than the one that the other thing is needing to be found out from. So that just complicates it, because we can't use the same recruit, and it just takes more time for that kind of thing. So then we do our sessions, and then by the end of the month, before the last day of the month, usually that last week, you'll get another invite from me for the wash-up meeting, where we kind of go over what we learned and the insights and stuff too. And like I told the incident management team, when we do the sessions, I really highly encourage all of y'all to show up. Be my note takers. Be there to listen to what the customers are saying. Even if they're internal people too, they're still our customers, right? So I would love for you guys to come. I'll send you separate invites. So what I do is I send an invite to the customer, so they have a little standalone invite for themselves. And then I send you guys this, basically the same thing, but just on your calendars, so you can have the Zoom room and the time and everything. And as your schedule permits, I highly would love for you to be there. I've got a note-taking template and everything, and I also love to have you give me questions as we go through the session. So like get on Slack, we can have a little channel or a little conversation with the 5 of us, and you guys can feed me questions as I talk to that customer. I'm not the SME in this, you guys are. So I welcome those questions that come from your perspective, and you know other things that are going on that I may not be aware of too. So maybe we can work that question in or something like that. So I'm totally open to that kind of thing as well. And then usually after each session, I like for people to stick around 3 to 5 minutes who've observed to just chat, say like, what you guys think? What'd you like? What was like the aha moment of that? Do we want to change anything for the next session? Change a question or put a new one in, things like that. So do a little retro, really quick retro after each session. And yeah, so that's kind of my process and the UX research team's process here, as it is now. It could change, but that's what we're doing now.
So when we close out that and we do the retro, is there sort of an outcome or a recommendation from you as far as around the persona, or is it just we're collecting information, you're helping us pull it together, your expertise is rooting through the right questions and approaching the questions the right way?
So at the end of the research piece, so after we've talked to everybody, my role is to look at all of that data and look for trends and analyze all of that stuff. So I'm going to start to help you and provide you with insights. Used to be called findings. You should do these things, and this is why you should do those things. And what I like to do is give, if I can, depending on what we're doing, a list of quick wins. Go change these tiny little things right now. You make people happy. And here are some long-term things that you might have to plan a little bit longer for. It's not a label change or something like that. They're bigger pieces. And then typically there's like a whole other group of things, other things we've learned that will probably feed into other stuff from a product manager perspective, just not very specific features that were clear that came out of the research. So that's part of it. So each one of those becomes an issue in GitLab, and it kind of gets attached to the research issue or epic, depending on how we want to organize stuff. So it kind of all gets in there, and then we can talk about them there. We can talk about them in a meeting, however you guys want to continue those conversations. Okay.
Very helpful. And then when we look at let's just talk about release manager persona as an example. That's a fairly new persona. So who owns the persona development and documentation around that in the handbook?
I think it's the research team for the user personas. Now I see that there's some marketing personas. I'm not sure who built those, but I also know that the designers have helped with some of the persona stuff too. I think like the jobs to be done and things like that they've contributed to that. So it's kind of a joint effort, but I think it ultimately falls on the UX research team's lap to make sure it's got what it needs and it's accurate and it's there. Because I noticed it's not there, because I went and looked today after I was watching the video and I'm like, oh no, we need that. So yeah.
So it's a single, so the single source of truth, is what for personas would be awesome. Go ahead, Arit, I'm sorry.
How large is the group that we're actually interviewing? And that's like question number one. And based on your answer, question number two would be, how do we know like this is the right direction? Because I mean, we have so many different personas, if we're already on that subject, that we're aiming, to use the tool or specific stage, that I mean, it differs between whoever is giving the answer.
Exactly, yeah, because I watched that one video, Karina, that you put up on Google Docs or YouTube. So typically what you would want is around 5 to 6 people per persona. Now, that being said, it also depends on your priority for the feature. I mean, sometimes you are going to make that feature for everything. Everyone is going to use it. Okay, it's all the people. But sometimes a feature is really going to be focused on this one persona initially. And that's fine. We can just talk to that one persona for that feature piece. And that's why I wonder if some of these asks that this team has might be smaller than our typical ask, because they're they seem to be bite-sized chunks of things that we can ask one persona about a couple of them in a test. And so you don't have to wait to do a whole nother month cycle to get another chunk of those things asked. If we need to talk to more than one persona, it just makes it longer for me because I have to add another 5 to 6 people in there, and it just takes a little bit longer. So I would encourage the product managers here, those ladies, to look at the features and see what is your gut telling you, what's the industry telling you, who would be our target market for that MVC initially. Let us go talk to those people, and then we'll know maybe the second version and the third version who those people would be. And as we pull them in for other studies, I can take that information and talk to them about it. So you don't have to necessarily wait. We may not want to talk to like 18 people in 1 month to try to get 3 personas covered. If we can. I mean, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you have to.
And then on top of that, to complicate things, we also have, Community Edition, Enterprise Edition, or are we giving this for free? Do we want to charge? Because that's something that comes out of the research as well.
It can, or it might be industry research instead of customer research for that. Just depends on, because if you let's be honest, if we ask somebody, do you want to pay for this? Most of the people are like, no. I would say, you may have a couple of people who just love us and say, yes, we'll give you all the money that you could ask for. But most people would say, no, I'd love to have this for free.
Yeah.
So I would lean more on industry research to determine if it's an enterprise feature or if it's a community edition feature, to be honest.
Right.
One of the things when we talk about the different personas and, like you said, trying to bring the focus in, and I think what you were referring to in my video was the best way to explain it, the dichotomy of how GitLab has really been developer first persona.
Yeah.
And I ran against it as I started to break open some release manager features, in the sense of developers were kind of saying, hey, no, you can't mess with the Git tags like this. Like, it doesn't make sense for us. You're going to confuse us. And so my goal is that as we crack open this release manager persona and features around it, I don't want to trample on our most valuable customer.
Right.
I want to keep the peace and make sure that I'm serving the release manager, but I'm keeping that developer perspective in place. And I don't know if that's something we have to articulate, but in general, that's what I'll be focusing on when we start to crack open these non-developer personas.
For sure. No, I totally get it. And it may be that we know that developer persona more than we do these non-developer personas. And it may be that we don't need to talk to them about everything. We may already know really what they need. Yes. But we don't know what this release manager needs. We don't know what the other ones need. So maybe focusing on those in the initial stages and then pulling them all together later, or just asking some internal people too, some internal devs. Hey, what if we did this? What would happen? Would you cry? How much would you cry? Kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. I think that's kind of what happened last time. It's like, we had community speak up, we had developers speak up, and like, this wouldn't make sense to me. So yeah, maybe that's the best route. For larger things, we might take like an antagonist UX research to the release manager research. I don't know, but
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Dorit.
So I understand what we're going to do right now for like the closest releases, and we have concrete issues that we want to start researching. Thinking about the bigger picture, we have a few user community events coming up. Is that something that we want to push there to the customers? Even like different questionnaires or different, I don't know.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, I've actually asked Christy, our UX director, to see what's going on with that, because I'm like, oh, customers all in one place? That's awesome. I want my hands on all of them.
Fill out a questionnaire, get a teddy bear, I don't know. Something.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we were talking about like some specific swag for UX research and things like that. And I mean, I would love to be able to grab a couple, have a little user chat about anything that we've got going on, or give them a survey or anything. So I'm waiting to hear back to see if that's a possibility. If you guys are going to it and you have opportunity, we can totally work on a survey or something if you want to give people it to go fill out, like a QR code or whatever to go to we were using SurveyMonkey, but we're moving to a different tool, but we might be able to still use SurveyMonkey for at least the first customer event. But at any rate, we could like give them a QR code, go to take the survey, get a little scrunchie or whatever we've got going on, we can send it to them. Yeah, but that's a great idea, and I'm hoping that we'll be able to do something like that. But if I can't go or anybody here on the UX team can't go, I have no problem with you ladies passing out surveys or something like that to people.
Okay. Go ahead, Reed.
No, yeah. I have a question regarding prioritization. So what's the best way for us, moving forward to prioritize our research requests, and given that we want to identify the need of research a bit ahead of the development phase? Because the issues that we have right now, they're all assigned for the current milestone.
Right.
And what Laurie say, we need time to even understand the problem and investigate how we want to tackle these. So what do you think is the best way for us to collaborate?
In my opinion, it should go by any feature priority, meaning if it's one of the direction features, if it's an OKR, if it's top priority, the UX research should go top priority with it. Of course, probably most of the things don't fall into that like really organized category, in which I guess Karina and I would need to agree upon it.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at some of these, and like let's talk about like execute run books. That is OKR, feature flags in progressive delivery OKRs. I think the part that would, to your point, Reed, that's going to help them is that you and I agree on what our priority is collectively, so that we're not stepping on each other. But just to confirm, and I think Hayana, you're definitely jumping into like a very tactical thing we have to solve today too, or this week, is we have several UX research issues open.
Yes.
I think we don't have really clear, crisp descriptions and information around them. Like I feel like some of them were toppling on to a couple of issues that probably are combined, and the expectation around what we're supposed to achieve out of those is not clear. So just to confirm what I have merge trains, run books, the MVC dashboard, and is there something else I'm missing? I had feature flags. I know you want to do UX research for feature flags too, Ari.
Yeah,
very excited.
That's right. We have merge trains, dashboards, feature flags, and the run books. So it's 4 different different issues, and I think some of them have multiple research tasks or issues, open requests.
Okay, so where we stand today, Lori, we have these 4. It's going to take you a month. You have other teams. Is your capacity to take one thing only at a time from us, or do you feel like you have room for 2, or like what is your capacity just even in a really, like let's just think of it as like a release. I'm thinking about getting that information to synthesize in time for the next release.
Right. Mike, because I have 4 other groups, or at least 3 active ones and 1 coming online soon, I would say 1 thing from y'all a month, unless they all decide not to do anything, just because that would leave me with 3 other things to do each month, and I'm not really sure how I'm going to even balance that with all of the recruiting and stuff. So I would say 1. Now that doesn't mean that I can't help Hannah or Mike do like a usability test or a survey or something else, I can mentor, and you ladies do, mentor you guys doing research as well. So that's working that in. But one solo project all on me per month, I think is good for right now until I get into it more. I suspect it probably won't change, but we are hiring, I think, another senior researcher soon.
What about can she help?
I'm sorry, or what?
Can Tally help?
Tali also has her own group of things that she's been working on too. So it's, yeah, and Catherine's got like 4 different groups she's working with as well. So it's, we don't have enough people, to be honest with you. We
I
just
think
don't.
that's like the whole problem in GitLab.
Yeah. We just don't. And so that's a problem. But that doesn't mean, like, that's one project. That doesn't mean it's one topic. So like I said earlier, if there's small bite-sized things that I can fit in an hour's worth of sessions, I'll do them. Because I can recruit once for that session. And that's cool. We just have to determine the prior month which ones these are, and do we have assets if we need anything? Do we have all the stuff that we need to do those sessions for that next month? And I'm okay with that. That's perfectly fine to do, as long as we're talking to the same people for each of those pieces.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, because I think that most of the issues that we have now, yes, we need a lot of your availability there. But for example, the usability testing we can tackle ourselves.
Yeah.
But what I need is like help putting the survey together, at least know if I'm moving in the right direction. And I think that's where the back and forth is going to happen between us. But yeah, I think most of the things, it's really a bit of better planning, because at least the issues that I open, it's like, I know that we need research for this. We already have something even developed. That's why one of them is like a suggestion for a beta testing. But how do we move forward with this? Like, how do we even tackle research? Because I have never done it with GitLab. I did it with Catherine once, and it was the same. She mentored me, and I did it myself. But it would be awesome to discuss, or at least to have the help defining the scope for.
Yes.
For the
yeah, I'm totally happy to help you, like, refine the hypothesis, the objectives, the questions, the script. I'd probably even do the recruiting for you if that would be okay, since we've got access to our tool, and I don't think you guys do yet. I'd be happy to do that. And then I could even run one of the sessions for you, Hayana, if you wanted to watch somebody do it first before you did the rest. And then I could come to as many sessions as I could to take notes for you. And then we can talk about what we learned after the fact and help you analyze the data too. So that's the kind of mentoring I'm offering for you and Mike and you ladies too, if you want to get into user research. So yeah, so you can feel comfortable. And then as we go on more and more, you need me less and less. But yeah, I don't want to leave you in a way that you're unsure of what to do. Yeah.
So I have another question. Is there like a possibility to have like something ongoing on our website all the time for whoever wants to give feedback? It doesn't have to be, our stage. It could be any stage, it could be random questions, just to always have like some kind of ongoing research to have some kind of feedback.
Yeah, we're going to have a call today with Qualtrics, which is our new tool that we're going to use for surveys and stuff. And I want to ask them about the Site Intercept survey. I've used it at Rackspace. And basically it's like one of those little pop-ups, and you could put like 1 or 2 questions in there and say like, how's it going? What other feedback would you like to give us? That kind of thing. And we could propagate that throughout the whole, at least the whole web version. I don't know if we can do it on the enterprise version, but I'll ask them, the hosted version.
So I do have another call coming up, and then I have, but I wanted to just kind of be like get crisp with you guys on what I think the next action is and where we go from here. Ari, I think you and I should group together, get our story straight, and then basically re-communicate that out, how we're going to attack the limited resources we have and how we want to approach it.
Well, the good news is that we have to collaborate on everything, not only research. So it's a good practice to do that anyway.
Yep. Okay, cool. So, Arit, I don't know, do you want to get together tomorrow, given that it's the end of your day, and then kind of get through that resolution?
No, I don't do Fridays, but we can do Monday.
Okay, fair enough. I love that.
Well,
All
I
right.
work on Sunday. You can switch. Would you want to switch?
Oh.
No, no. All
Okay,
right.
so I have Sabbath, so I don't want to switch my Fridays.
That's great. All right, guys.
Yeah.
So I think we have a path forward. If you can just be patient with us while we get our story straight. Hopefully we'll have some information on Monday.
Perfect.
Great.
And Hannah, I'm happy to start working with you whenever you're ready to do it. Just ping me and we can go forward.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna reply to the open questions in the each that we have now, and we can move forward.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I would recommend. I need to take on some research as well, so I would plan on, for capacity wise, if Hyana and I can both do a little bit ourselves, and then
Yeah.
probably have one with you. Or so when you guys are talking, maybe have that capacity in mind.
You rock, Mike. All right, guys.
But we can also start talking asynchronously about it, and then at least we'll have something ready early on.
Okay, cool. All right, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Have a great rest of your evening and day. Bye.
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 Bye.